Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to a very special extra interview of Final Cut. Today, I'm joined by an actress who is also a Brit, so I'm usually quite happy, but now I'm even happier today. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you Nicola Posner.
Hello. It's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me to this interview.
The honour is all mine. Thank you very much for coming on. I suppose the inevitable question is, how are you?
I am good. I am surviving this year, as I hope you and everyone listening is. So, staying strong and positive and, just pushing ahead.
It's all we got. We've only got another couple of months left of this year, so hopefully good things will start next year. So, how did you get started? How did you get started out in acting?
Oh my goodness, that seems like such a long time ago. I started when I was really young, and it wasn't professional. It was just I was a kid who absolutely just adored acting. I just had so much fun performing. So I was one of those kids who was signing up to all the school plays and any kind of community theatre that I could find. So that was where the ball kind of started rolling. I was just actively performing in shows and things. And then, once I realised that could turn into a more professional outlet as I got older, it was just something that I just had to go down that path.
You never regret doing acting, do you?
Oh no, hell no.
That's good to know.
I mean, it's a crazy job, but no, I love it too much. It's just so fun, and there's so many good things about this job. Not just like the actual performing, but being on set and the camaraderie with the cast and the crew. It's just a great job. I love it.
So obviously, growing up, every actor is influenced by certain people. So who were your influences growing up?
Yeah, I noticed I watched a lot of films that Keira Knightley was in, just because I think we were similar casting types. And so she used to do I think she still does, a lot of period dramas.
Yeah.
And at the time I was fixated on period dramas. I'm a bit of a history buff. I love all that kind of stuff. So I was a little bit inspired by that. But also, I think less so other actors, but I would go to the West End and see shows as much as I could. Like, even if it was, the seats right at the back of the show, whatever tickets I could get. So it was more, I would go to the theatre or watch musicals and just really wish I was the one on the stage performing.
I must admit, I have recently been watching a fair bit of West End in the last year and a bit, and I absolutely love the West End.
Oh, the West End is incredible. I'm so sad that it's down at the moment, but hopefully not for too much longer.
It'll be back.
We'll figure something out. It'll be back. Yeah.
It'll always be back. Now yourself, you've been acting 15 years, so happy 15th anniversary.
Thank you so much.
You've done a lot. So in your 15 years, so how did you get started out with your first role?
Okay, so I think my first role, it's probably more than 15 years now, but I was 17 and I had an agent at the time. I was really proactive as a 16-year-old. I got myself an agent, started auditioning for television. And my first role, I played an evil fairy in a children's BBC show called The Misty Show. And it was the guest star on the show. It was so much fun. It was pretty standard audition procedure, and I was fortunate enough to book the role, and it was a few days filming, and it was just such a great experience. It was very nerve-wracking, but it was a lot of fun. My character was called Farina. Good times.
So now obviously you've done a lot of guest starring roles, but you've also been in The Bold and the Beautiful, which has been going for about 33 years. So what role do you play in it?
Yeah, so I play a character called Amelia, who's kind of come in to support actually most of the families in the show. She's the nanny for the children in the show, but she also seems to get in the middle of the family dramas little bit and probably stick her nose in where it shouldn't be, and I don't know, get crushes on the random characters in the shows. So yeah, my character's called Amelia. I've been on the show for 2 years now. My character's recurring, so I just kind of pop in and stir up a little bit of drama, or try not to, whenever they invite me on set. So it's a great job. I absolutely love being a part of that show.
Sure. So Amelia is definitely not in the vein of Rebecca De Mornay's character in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, then?
I don't know that one. You've stumped me.
Oh, basically Rebecca.
What's that reference?
Yeah. Hand That Rocks the Cradle is actually a revenge movie where I think it's the father's ex-girlfriend. He actually dumps her, and she moves. She apparently plays their nanny and basically sabotages the relationship and the family as well. It's actually an 80s movie.
That sounds awesome. When I got cast, and it was my first day on set, and I was talking to one of the producers, I was like, how do you want me to play it? Is she manipulative? Is she trying to, tear this family apart? What's going on? And he was like, no, she's just really, really nice and sweet. So I was hoping for the more dramatic, it would go down that kind of path, but you never know.
He does actually know that we Brits are the best at playing baddies. He does know that,
right,
didn't he?
Exactly. We have British accents. Come on. Also, they're the most fun roles to play, but
yeah, they are. Indeed.
I can't complain. I have a very sweet character, and she always means well, even if she says the wrong thing at the wrong time. But
and the wrong action at the wrong time as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you're still in it, as in a recurring role.
Yeah, so I was filming right up until lockdown. I had my last episode on the beginning of March, and then the studio shut down. So I think they're limiting the cast for the time being, and hopefully I'll go back in the next year or so. So fingers crossed, yeah. I think it's just times of COVID right now.
Fingers crossed for everything, for everyone, really.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, just in case anyone isn't familiar with The Bold and the Beautiful, it's been going on for 33 seasons now, which is literally almost 30 years. I'll give everyone a bit of an impression about how long this has been going on for. So if you take all the seasons of CSI that I've got on, so Vegas, Miami, New York and Cyber, if you put them together, you're not even close to how many seasons there is of The Bold and the Beautiful. You would basically have to double Mark Harmon's original NCIS seasons before you get there. So you've spent time on set, so are you really surprised it's been going 33 seasons strong still?
Not at all. It has a really loyal fan base, and also not just in the States, but I think it's the most watched soap opera in the world, because it's very popular in places like Italy and other countries in Europe and Australia. So it has great fans who really support it. So not surprised, and it'll be going for many more years. I'm actually still surprised that, because it's not very often a series like that goes on for much longer, because not many seasons survive that long. I mean, the Arrowverse is finishing 2 shows, and they've not even done 8 seasons of Arrow, and Supergirl's 6th season is going to be its last. So it is kind of it's kind of like an anomaly, really, if you pardon the science fiction pun there. But no, it really is. No, you're absolutely right. I think they've just figured out a formula over these years, to try and keep the writing fresh and the characters fresh and keep the audience coming back for more. Yeah, I don't know how they do it either, but they're onto something good. They've been going for 30 odd years already. It's not bad.
So moving on from a recurring role to a main star role. So you are actually a main star in Age of the Living Dead. So what is that about?
Yeah, so that's a fun one. That is a show, to summarise, it's vampires versus humans in this post-apocalyptic world in the not too distant future, where they're on their 2 different sides, and America has been broken up and quarantined, and some left deserted where the vampires are, and it's basically a case of survival, and these 2 sides have this treaty where they help each other survive, but no one will cross certain lands, and so they agree to this peace treaty. And then season 1 begins where the peace treaty is broken because word is out that one of the sides is going to turn against the other side. It's the end of the world as we know it, and chaos ensues. And so my character Yvonne is very much stuck in the middle, not quite a vampire, not quite human. And so she's a good character, and she's just trying to save everyone and do the right thing. And yeah, it's a fun story.
We always try and do the right thing. All right, has Yvonne ever tried to do the right thing, but it has turned out to be the wrong thing?
Oh yeah, like right at the beginning of the first season, by trying to do the right thing, she kind of begins the chaos that is, the end of the world. So her actions for all good meaning don't work out so well, and things become very disastrous very quickly.
All right.
Good intentions, but yeah.
Yeah, really bad results. All right, so I'm intrigued now. So is it still ongoing?
Yeah, so season 1 has already been available for a couple of years now. I know it's on Fox Action in foreign territories. It's on Amazon in the UK and the States. Season 2 we finished filming last year, so I believe that's being released November 15th.
Ooh.
And we were meant to shoot season 3 in June, and then it got delayed until August, and now it's been delayed even more. So we're just waiting for maybe a cure for this pandemic, and hopefully we'll resume filming.
I have Amazon
Fingers
Prime.
crossing.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Oh, awesome.
So I will be looking for that as soon as we finish this interview.
Great. Hope you enjoy it.
I hope so. So, I suppose you've really answered my question, really, because it was going to be where can we watch it, but you've already answered it. So, yourself, you've got a fair bit scheduled for release this year, and, well, in theory, obviously, but what should be out either this year or maybe even next year? But I'm guessing that majority of it will be out next year because everything's been rescheduled.
Well, it depends, because streaming services are putting work out as quickly as they can because they're running out of shows. So, no, I do have a film coming out October 30th, and that is a Christmas movie called A Crafty Christmas Romance, and I play the lead role of Mandy Page. And that's a really kind of sweet, feel-good Christmas movie. So if you're into those, that'll be on Lifetime. I think it's 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central. So October 30th on Lifetime. So I have that one coming out. I also play the lead in another kind of Hallmark-esque movie called Bookworm and the Beast. And so that's like a modern adaptation of Beauty and the Beast, which is a cute story, modernized, a lot of fun. And I think that'll be out either later this year or the early part of next year. So got that coming along. And then we'll see, hopefully Age of the Living Dead Season 3 will be out next year once we shoot it.
All been well.
So yeah, we'll see where things go.
Yep, we certainly shall. So just this next part is just a little section that I'd like your insight into, since you are in the mainstream, in the acting business. So
sure.
So obviously you've had situations where you feel your career is going nowhere. So what would you tell somebody who is going through a similar decision that you went through at some point?
Honestly, I've never felt like that. Not because it wasn't going anywhere or halted. I just don't allow myself to put myself in that frame of mind, because I feel like career and life is always ongoing, and it's kind of up to the individual to push it along and stay positive. So I've never put myself in that frame of mind. I've just kept looking forward. And to anyone who is in that frame of mind, which I can understand because this year is such a challenging year, I just say keep looking forward. This time, especially with COVID, is temporary until we have a cure. And stay proactive, because if you miss being creative, it's really it's not a good feeling. And I know the sense of missing feeling creative. So to try and create your own projects, or to reconnect with your filmmaker friends, to speak to your reps, to see what's going on, just to try and stay busy so you feel like you're active and doing something. But never feel like anything's come to a halt, because it hasn't. Life is ongoing, and you need to keep looking forward, because that's the way that the momentum stays. Just keep pushing forward.
Sound advice there. So, right, away from movies and television, what are you passionate about? What are your interests?
Oh my God, so much of my interest is on the creative front, because I love, watching movies and things like that. I've noticed through COVID, I'm into DIY. I know I did have to tell myself that. Yeah, I've managed to redecorate pretty much my whole apartment during this quarantine. So that is a new interest I never knew I had. Kind of on the artsy side, and painting and things like that. But I also love watching documentaries, but again, that's more on the creative side. I'm just fascinated by history, so that's a passion of mine, just kind of educating myself. I just miss seeing friends and, doing hobbies with friends, going out, going to the park,
going to
socialising. So,
yeah, we actually had our pub. Yeah, we had our pubs back, but we might be losing them after tonight. But we'll wait and see.
I said park, but yeah,
I said park, but yeah, everyone misses the pub.
But pubs we don't have many pubs in the US, but pubs in the UK are great. So
yeah. You mentioned history. I just want to enlarge that. Are you a fan of alternate history? Because I am. I absolutely love the idea of alternate histories.
Say that again. I don't understand.
I'll give you an example. DC has like an Elseworlds continuation that they do. It's like there's an animated movie coming out. It's called Superman Red Son, which theorizes about what if Kal-El crash landed in the Soviet Union. I've actually got a game called Wolfenstein, which is what if Germany won World War II with advanced technology. It's kind of like alternate history like that.
Yeah. Oh, so it's fictional.
Yeah.
I know nothing about that. See, I love like the knowledge of like our actual history.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'm fascinated by the past, and I think that's kind of what inspired my love of period dramas when I was growing up as well. I'm like, wow, the good old days of the past. I've never heard of alternate history. That's fascinating and also very terrifying.
It is a little bit. I actually like to think of it as it kind of makes me thankful for the history we've got and the history we've had, because it's always like it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse.
Could be.
Yeah. Actually, a prime example of that is Man in the Iron Castle, which is actually on Amazon Prime, which is what if Germany did win World War II and America is divided between, I think it's the Japanese at the Pacific and the Germans have taken over New York, etc., etc. So I am actually a big fan of stuff like that. So I didn't know if you were as well.
No, I can't. I'm totally aware of that show. I can't bring myself to watch it. Like, had history turned out another way, I can't. It's too oh god, I don't know, too intense. I don't want to know what the alternative scenario would have been, even if it's fictional.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
No, I like traditional history. I think that's more my thing.
Traditional is not a bad thing. So.
Oh no, it's interesting, especially in our country, England. We have a lot of it.
We do.
Fascinating stuff.
Okay, then. So moving on from history, what would you? In fact, you could say this question is about history. Actually, what would you say are your career highlights thus far?
My highlights. I feel like my first big break came when I was cast as a series regular on the UK's Disney Channel show Life Bites, which was many, many years ago now. But that really felt like a massive stepping stone for me, which brought on a lot of great opportunities. And it was a comedy. It was like a sketch show. It was really challenging because we'd do these sketches all in one continuous take because it was a single camera. And yeah, it was such a fun and exciting time. So that was one of my best moments where I felt like things began. And then another one, which kind of pushed me to moving to America, I booked a lead in a 5-part fantasy series called Mythica. And I feel like that's really one of the biggest projects I've done because it was 5 fantasy films that we shot back to back. And so that's got a really wonderful, loyal fan base. Fantasy fans really enjoy it, and I love that. And yeah, that's led on to a lot of opportunities for me that I'm really grateful for. And it's just so fun being in that kind of fantasy atmosphere. And it was just such a great cast and crew. We're all friends still, all these years later. So yeah, that's one of my biggest highlights, I'd say. And then Bold and the Beautiful was one of my first bigger gigs in the US. So that was awesome.
All right, so obviously we've discussed what's coming out in the next. I'll say the next year for you. But have you got any other projects in the pipeline, quarantine dependent?
Quarantine dependent, yes, but nothing set in stone. So I'm not one to tempt fate, but I'm very good at posting on my social media once a role is in the works and things are kind of coming along. So I like to put clues out there if I'm working on a project coming up. So I've had a few exciting calls over this quarantine, but it's so difficult to say when, because we don't know when production's really gonna start up again.
Yeah.
But I will definitely post about it when things come to fruition. So yes, a few potentials, but nothing I can say about right now.
All right. What you can say is what would you like the future to hold for you? What are you hoping for in the future for you?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
And the world, a vaccine. I would just like to keep the momentum, keep working on projects I'm really passionate about and forward my career and get versatile roles that challenge me and keep working with awesome people just for my career to keep going up and up because it's an awesome job. So yeah, I really hope, once the vaccine comes along, that production will kickstart up again and exciting things will happen from there.
All right, so you mentioned you just literally mentioned social media. So if people want to find you on social media, how would they go about it?
So I have a professional Facebook page under Nicola Posner. So that's Nicola Posener. And I have a Twitter under the same name and an Instagram. So I'm probably most on Instagram rather than the other two, but I go on all three. But Instagram's my main thing.
Yeah, Twitter does seem to be not exactly the best place because, even Ed Sheeran's quit Twitter and he posts more on Instagram than he does anything else.
Oh, has he? Oh, dear. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Twitter's a little bit political at the moment, so I'm just trying to...
I can definitely agree to that.
Yeah.
So
Instagram is the way forward.
So on that, ladies and gentlemen, having just followed Nicola on Twitter, Nicola Posner.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
And thank you very much for coming on, as always.
My pleasure. Thank you.